Hello there, everyone. Welcome. Before I discuss today's topic, I just wanted to first off just greet the chat. And I know that some of you are going to start slowly coming in. So first off, I would want to say welcome to Gerard. Good to see you. Thank you for coming. Hello there, Crumel. Excellent. Always a pleasure to see you. Co-train, good man. It was a pleasure meeting you over in Buffalo. Excellent. It was good. Good to see everyone actually that I saw. How you doing, Roscoe? My man from Scotland. Thank you for coming. Hello there, Tommy 2274. Good to see you, my man. As always, there he is, the main man, Mr. Tommy Stiggs. Hello, sir. I hope all is well and good. Thank you for coming. So as people slowly start to come in, what today's topic, I'm going to, as you know, most of you know, and those of you that will be watching out there, I'm in the United States. I was over in Buffalo a couple of days ago, or few days ago, and I then made it to Newark, my hotel in Newark. And one of my main highlights for this was actually going out and about with none other than the main man, Mr. Tommy Stiggs, and he was going to show me around. So currently at the moment, I'm here. I'm welcoming you all from Manhattan. So I'm by the Hudson River on the west side. So hello there, Delilah. Thank you for coming. Good to see you. Hello there, sweet tea. Excellent. Yeah. I'll explain as well in detail as I can about the tour that Tommy gave me. And then we got Dave T. Hello there, my main man. Thank you for coming in. Good to see you. So if I can I'll probably just give another 30 seconds or so, just to allow one or two others to come in, and then I can obviously kick this off. So the agenda for this is I'm just going to, as I mentioned, I'm going to talk as much as I can in depth about the trip that me and Tommy did, where Tommy took me. And then I'll talk a little bit about the rest of my trip, going forward. And hopefully Tommy and maybe one or two others will also jump up on the panel, and we can just have a little bit of interaction. But as I say, folks, feel free to ask questions. You are part of this, and the more questions you ask me, the more you can jog my brain, and hopefully, and the more information I can give you. There you are. Good man, Tindu. Thank you for coming, sir. But that was a pleasure. Another real pleasure it was meeting you in Buffalo, face to face. This is how we do things here now. This is good. So, yeah, right. So it was. I arrived here in Manhattan today, but I got into on, I think it was Saturday night. I flew in from Buffalo, and I got in about half 9 that night. Checked into my hotel. I knew that I had a big day tomorrow, which would have been the Saturday, of course. So on that day, so you woke up, got there, getting ready to go in Tommy's show, and he says he's going to come and pick me up. So round about. You're sorry, sweetie. I'm going to need your help when I plan my next trick. No problem. I'll give you as much information as I can. So Tommy sort of picked me up roughly about 10 to 9. But whilst I was waiting in the lobby, there was some girl who was there with her luggage. She looked like she was just checking in. Started talking to her, and she was basically here there was a concert or something that was going on that evening, and just chatting away. And I just said, yeah, I'd arrived in. I flew in from Buffalo, and she'd flown in from Buffalo as well. And I said, yeah, I'm just out. I'm a part of a little YouTube community. And she's like, oh, right, okay. She says, I said, look, I'm going to be out and about today, so he's going to be on live. And, you could, because she said she was going to be sitting around the hotel relaxing. And she said, who's, she typed it in, and she typed in Tommy Sticks Social Club, Sticks. So I said, no, Stiggs. Anyway, she's gone, she's had a look, she's gone, oh my God, she's gone, I know that my dad watches that. And then I said, really? I said, well, he's just turned up now, and Tommy will vouch for this. He'll probably mention it as well if I can get him up here on the panel. Is that she went out and Tommy got a selfie. She got a selfie with Tommy to get the Robert Treat Hotel in the background. So anyway, at that point we're in the car, and Tommy's he's going through New Jersey, and he's like that. He says, "Oh right, yeah, there's the theatre that used to be one of those, like where they had the Juice in New York, like the old sex theatre, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tommy. And it's been run down. It's been derelict. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. She was a very good looking girl, and he's pointing around, showing me. He said that's Prudential. I think he believes that's where ALV used to work. Going through New Jersey, and he's telling me obviously how things have changed. He said it used to be like a very Italian dominated area, and it's changed, which is not like a lot of the societies. Certainly, I can vouch for around the UK. It's the demographics are different. So anyway, he's gone through. He's taken me over. We've hit the Iron Bridge. Got the Sopranos music going in your head. Got myself a gun, and we're going. And he's just taking me, just showing me everything. And I have to appreciate, there's one thing you can't take away from Tommy is his enthusiasm and his love for the place that he lives. And he could, it was like, it just buzzing. He was captivating. And the man he's got that aura about him, and it's very salesman-like. But it was cool. It was a real good vibe. We've got it taken, and then he's going to say that was there, and he said, "Remember the bush reeds?" It's like the reeds. You remember that from that scene, And we were going through, heading around. Is just taking us through around New Jersey, and obviously the main plan there was then to move on and actually go for the walk to the Hudson River. Now the weather wasn't particularly great. We were looking at the skyline over at Manhattan, and because there was like clouds down, it sort of affected the top of the skyscrapers, but it wasn't a problem. I'll tell you, there were some advantages of the weather a little bit as I go through and tell the story. So from there, we've gone round, and it was, according to Tommy, it was actually quite a dream driving around at this time. Don't know whether it was a touch of whether it was the Sunday morning and the weather wasn't that great, but there was no real traffic confrontation compared to what it might be like during the week. So we've gone to the Hudson River. It's pulled up, excellent. There's the parking spaces, got out the car, and you've seen the video, and we've got ourselves walking across the Hudson River, looked out, could see the view of Manhattan, and they were looking down on the right to us. It was the bottom end towards Brooklyn. Then you've got the main part of the west of Manhattan. There was like a big, massive sort of cruise line ship, like one of those cruise ships that go out, that take you out to somewhere like Barbados. So having a look, there was the piers. We're walking along. It was cold. You could feel the chill, obviously, as you're walking along that seafront. So we're slowly moving across, because I think it's west of Harlem, and we're walking away, and we're doing his filming, and we literally walked all the way up to the pier, and as I say, it was really bitterly cold. James, do people in the UK know the show Sopranos? Yeah, absolutely. The Sopranos was big everywhere. It was, to be fair, I thought it was somewhat one of the best pieces that has ever been put together. Certainly as well for the amount of seasons. that were actually rolled out. Took very few faults you could pick in it. I felt some may disagree with me, but we went up to the pier. Obviously, we got up there, had a little look around. Tommy was telling me a lot of stories, more to do with obviously those people that have bought their condos, certainly on the New Jersey side. And what's happened is those that have bought their condos and views, they were actually going to be building a new building in front of their condos so it would obstruct their view. So obviously there was a lot of ongoing fighting stopping it happening. As you imagine, you paid a lot of money for that. And one of the reasons why you pay a lot of money for that is because you've got that view across the Manhattan skyline. So after that, we've gone to take a walk back, and he's gone into the car. Now, at this point, we were going to look at going straight to the church, to Sacred Heart. But we said, Tommy decided, he said, look, well, let's go. We'll go to Mulberry Street. I don't know what the traffic's going to be like, but getting from where we were on that side of New Jersey all the way through to Mulberry Street, it was a dream. He said, it's not normally like this. We were unchallenged. I believe we ended up going through the Lincoln Tunnel. So we went through the Lincoln Tunnel, came out towards Mulberry Street, and just moving along at a nice pace. I know that with Tommy, there was certain frustrations. These delivery drivers that on bikes just shooting out left, right, and centre, and it was quite frustrating because they just got no understanding of the culture around there. Another thing as well, it was right that we weren't going to go into those junction boxes, so cars were getting a little bit frustrated, beeping along. But nevertheless, we were still ploughing along nicely, and we were picking to go which streets are down. Obviously moved through Chinatown. So the next objective was to obviously try and park the car up. Now, see, for me, I was unaware because every time I kept seeing a space, I said, Tommy, let's put the car there. No, James, we can't park there. There's a fire hydrant. So we don't have those sort of things in the UK. Sort of planted every so many meters or whatever on the side of the road. So we never had that problem of having to park in front of one. But nevertheless, we just kept moving through the streets. And he said, do you know what, James, you see this here? Pulled up. He said, do you remember that? You remember the scene? You've seen the video where the black Lincoln pulls up? I said, yeah. I said that place used to be the Raven nightclub. And so what I'm going to do for you now is play this little clip. Here we have it, Mulberry Street. And there what once stood was the Ravenite Social Club. It's now called the Descendant of Thieves. Totally different place to what it once used to be. But yeah, there's a bit of history there. Good stuff. Okay. So yeah, some of you might have seen that clip. So I'm just going to take a little break out now just to check the chat and just to see if anyone has any questions. Didn't take James to the ultimate Italian restaurant in Manhattan. Yeah, it was sweet tea. It was very, very early-ish in the morning. I mean, sort of around about that time, I'd imagine. What was it, Tommy? Probably about 10, 11 o'clock. He said, but Tommy was explaining as well. He said like where the Ravenite club used to be, the social club, it was all Italian up there. And he said as the slowly moved out the area, the actual the stretch where Mulberry Street is that's Italian is not. It doesn't have the same obviously demographics as it used to have. Yeah, exactly. That's what they did. They knew they knew it was coming. We were like royalty. So Yeah, and it was good as well because you saw like the main arch where you had like the little Italy sign. We've all seen that. I'm sure you've seen it in clips and movies. So it was fascinating to obviously see that. So we did that little tour. And he said, right, okay. I said, do you know what? We'll go to this church, okay? And it was, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, it was the of St. Lucy's and St. Gerard's, the church. You could drop the exact name in the comments box for us. I'd appreciate that. So he drove up there. There was starting to hit little bits of traffic, but he was also as well. They had like a blossom festival. Yes, St. Lucy's. There was a blossom tree festival, and we were slowly and gradually getting our way there. Waiting in the traffic. He was taking us up through part of Bloomfield Avenue and showing me sort of the parts obviously where there used to be lots of Italian gas, but there's not so much now, but there's still obviously an element there. And we were trying to aim for this church. And Tom, it was quite a little heartwarming moment because it was a trip down memory lane for Tommy. And he showed me, he said that was the house where my mum lived, so it was steeped in history of his growing up. That's, if you don't mind me saying, Tommy, that was you. That was the part of your life where it kind of, it all stems from. This is why you love the area that you live in, and we were headed slowly and gradually making our way to the church. Yep, St. Lucy's, patron saint for the blind, and inside of the shrine of St. Gerard, the patron saint of expecting mums. And I was kind of really, really taken back because once we parked up in there. Now, Mass was already going. So I was gone into the church. First off, before we went in, we looked at, there was like a shrine of some sort. I don't know what would be the correct terminology for it, but it was like a beautiful hot arch, semicircle, and it had like banisters, but it was like Roman marble architecture, some would say. And it was obviously for the church, and there was plaques sort of situated all over the place. So we've gone walking up further and got into the church. Mass is going. Tommy's like, okay, let's go in. We went in. And then to the right, he said, James, take a look at that. Look at that. The stained glass window. Richie the Boot. Rogerio Buardo, excuse my pronunciation. And I take a look, and the church was fantastic. It was like, it puts our churches to shame. And I'm just going to now play you a little clip.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. The grace of the Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God.
So you can see there, that was the clip of the stained glass window that Richie the Boot has donated to the church. And then from there, just taking me round his Mass, we're sort of walking round the church, across the back wall, down the sides. And it's taken me into where the actual shrine is for St. Gerard's. And there was, you went there and there was the St. Gerard there, and that's the one that Tommy, I believe, if you correct me if I'm wrong, that they take out on the day. They take it down the street. And whilst we were in there, I was just looking up, and I was looking up at all the paintings on the ceiling. I only took photos of that. I wish I had a video for it, but some of the painting of the religious artwork, it's fantastic. It was like the paintings were representing what had happened, one of the chapters in the Bible. At each painting, it had like stories around, and it was wonderful. It's kind of the Roman Catholic churches that I've been into in the UK have nothing like this. Then from there, he said, right, okay. He said, look, James, they've got a gift shop. He said, went into the gift shop, and I couldn't believe it because I've never seen a church with a gift shop. Now, I'm sure they've got them in the Vatican and in Italy, but not really. I've never seen it like in the UK. So, I mean, they had like just everything, statues of Mary, and also the crucifix, like crosses. There was rosary beads, you name it. There was all kinds of things, anything from pens to key rings, etc. Yeah, I love the buildings. That's what I do. I like about churches because there's just something special about them in the sense of the amount of effort and time that goes into them. There was actually when sitting in church, I'm only speaking from a personal experience. Sometimes I can find it quite therapeutic in the sense you can just clear your mind, you know. So we've as I say, we've gone, had a look around, and I was like, okay, wow, I was impressed. And we stood outside, and Tommy's talking, and he's telling me that this used to be like a real old Italian neighbourhood, and a lot of the houses there, a lot of that were existing there, they decided to wanted to build a housing project, and that ended up moving quite a lot of them out. So they moved them out, built all these houses. And I think that houses have even been knocked down and new ones have been put up. But like what I said to Tommy, I said that this church, this is something that is usually like the heart of the community. He said, but what they've done is they've kept the heart, which is what draws everyone to, but then, you know, they've severed away all the other parts. It's a bit of a shame, really. Okay, Co-Train. Newer churches use fake stained glass windows because it's too expensive. No, yeah, absolutely. Because I suppose more like religion sort of dominated the communities a lot more in the old days, but churchgoers are probably not as prominent in this day and age, which is a bit of a shame compared to back then. Yeah, it is disappointing, absolutely, sweet tea. So next up, Tommy took me for we went for another little tour, and it was kind of weird because you're going through the neighbourhoods and you'd be in a good neighbourhood, and then you turn a corner, and all of a sudden you'd be in like a bad neighbourhood. There on the corner would be like a lookout with the hood over the baseball cap. And anyway, you turn right down a road, and you're looking on the right hand side, and there's a house, and there's like just three dodgy characters with their hoods up and that. They must have been out their faces or whatever. And then you hear the police car in front, siren going off. And this car is in front of the police car, just blocking it off, not moving out the way. And all the cars down there are all double parked. So he's moving around, and like we went on further, we went into Bloomfield Avenue. And gone further now. So Tommy said, right, okay, we're going to stop. We're going to have something to eat. I said, okay. And the plan was to go to the Italian village. We went to the Italian village. You've seen some of the clips on his channel in the Italian village, but we've gone in there, and it was absolutely ram-packed. They had a private function. I think it might have been a baby shower, and we couldn't get a table. So we said, right, okay. Went back to the car, and that was at Calandra's Italian village. But Calandra, the gentleman who owns Calandra's, obviously, he's got a few venues in and around the area. Here we go. As always, the highlight of going in Lincoln Tunnel, it kept us busy as kids when we drive into the city. And the bridge was a better view, also scarier. Well, funny enough, going through that Lincoln Tunnel, sweet tea, it was like that. Watch out for the sign, because painted on the walls, you've got New York, New Jersey, and you know sort of when you're at I believe Tommy was saying like the halfway mark, or wherever you're crossing from one area to the other. So then, like as I say, from there we went and had something to eat at Calandra's Mediterranean Grill. I believe that was it. That was it, Tommy. So we've gone through yet again in the front part. it was fully booked out. So we've gone to further back, and it was like the nice part of the restaurant. We sat down there and got a table, just had a look at the menu. He's had a look, got the drinks. Okay, yeah. And he said, try this calandra. He says that they make their own goods, and he said this is their own olive oil. So we've gone, put in the olive oil, and Tommy said to me, correct me if I'm wrong, Tommy, that our oil is the first press, so it's got good thickness to it. And I've never seen this before. And he come out and grates the cheese on the plate, or the bowl, plate. I can't remember if it was one or the other. Anyway, grates the cheese into the olive oil and mixes up. Comes out with the bread and just went around and started eating it on the bread. Well, you know, every time I've ever had a bit of olive oil, it was always like a bit of balsamic vinegar, but this was something new. I've never had this before in that way. So I just had a look at the menu, and I think Tommy went for a portobello sandwich. I went for a pizza, and we shared that in the end. And I had the mussels, and I can't remember the name of the sauce, Tommy, but it was like a red tomato spicy sauce. So we had that, sat down, we were having a chat, and then I was a bit cheeky, and I said, okay, the waiter brought over some desserts. I thought, I'm having that one with the strawberry on top. That was beautiful. And the next thing you know, Tommy said, James, he said, that's the owner of Calandra's. Anyway, he's come over and he's had a chat because Tommy knows him. He knows Tommy. And they're talking away. And then we were just talking about old times, and he was talking about business. And this man is a well-travelled man. Tommy, you'd be able to remind me of his first name. And he was chatting away, and he was mentioned about how business was, and that he liked London, and he felt that people in England were a lot more politer than those around in New York. Well, I'd probably say the opposite. There you go. Thank you, Luciano Calandra. He was a real nice guy, you know, real down to earth, real pleasant. I know Tommy's there's a sort of a connection through his partner. So we we're just chatting away, and it was a real lovely, pleasant afternoon, fantastic food. And so from then on, I said, right, okay, we'll move on to the next part. And that's when we decided to take a drive to Livingston. Yeah, again, it's just you captivate in the area of New Jersey. You're in one area, you think, oh, that's not great. And then you go into the next area, and then it's like these big, massive houses. And there was some real picture of the houses. It's just sort of houses I kind of remember. Well, I'd first get the vision of them in my head when as a kid, watching things like the Wonder Years or things, programs along that line, like real big sturdy houses. We've got like neighbours, but it's just you've got such a nice variety, big lawns. I'm not used to seeing that in the UK. So, America, you've got better, bigger roads and bigger houses, more space. And we're just moving through, and we've driven on through to Livingston, which is where Richie the Boots estate was. It's pulled up to the front, and you've got the gates, and then all the way back up on the hill is like the house set back. It's very hard to see from there. And I'm having a look, taking some photos, and Winnie Cooper. And I'm like, okay, we'll get back in and we'll get another video. And then we're beeping, and it's like, who's that? And I think Tommy said it was Richie the Boo's son. He was trying to turn it to his estate. So I kind of had a little bit of a heart in mouth moment then. And I'm only joking, but it was a bit like it's sort of something I didn't really want to get caught filming. But anyway, we've driven on from there. Going through, believe it was onto Caldwell. Okay. Now, Caldwell, lovely, fantastic area. Some beautiful houses again. And this, yeah, you guessed it. Yeah, the boot son pulled up and he was blocking the entrance. And moving through Caldwell yet again, money area. As I said earlier, is just you can see the vast difference between in Newark from where you go from like small, sort of real, sort of low level, like bad areas, and then next thing you're in sort of like a paradise area. And yeah, you guessed it, we were heading to the house that was used in The Sopranos, where Tony Soprano lived. But on the way, he also showed me where the house where Uncle Junior was. So when we got up there, I had to take the liberty because we all love the series. So I'm going to now show you. Wow. Yeah. So booted by the boot. Yeah. Fantastic house. I mean, you've all seen it in there. And you can all remember some of the famous scenes that were in that house. You know, everything from the bear in the backyard to Tony's mum's funeral, to the fights and arguments with Carmelo where she's throwing his stuff out the window. You know, but there was some real good ones. But I must admit, so one of my favourite scenes is what everyone always remember: the jacket.
What's this? What's this? It's the jacket. The jacket. The jacket. I took off Rocco DeMeo. Oh, yeah.
So there you go. From there, obviously took it all in. It was a long old day. It's a long driving around, and I'd say I probably got in at 5 o'clock. Fair play, Tommy. Just the enthusiasm, the detail. It was really good. And those of you that are coming over this way, please, Tommy will put the time aside. If you're, I know he will. You've got to get him. This man knows his area. He knows it. Everyone, you know, he is New Jersey through and through. And yeah, hello there, Paulie. Thank you for coming. And I'm going to really now take this opportunity. I'm going to do what we like to do. And I'm going to drop that in the chat. So, Tommy, let me know if you're going to come up, if you want to give some more detail to your tour. Because, as I say, I really enjoyed it. And obviously, if there's anyone else that you want to ask questions and stay in the chat, by all means, stay in the chat. But if not, all of you that are in the chat, if any of you want to come up and have a chat to me and Tommy and ask questions yourself, it'll be fantastic. It'll be good. So I hope I have given as much detail as I can in 35 minutes. I think I've done quite well personally, but I'll let you be the judge of that. Let's see if Tommy's still there. Here we go. At the stage, Hollywood 210. Hello there, bro. Yeah. How did I do, Tommy? Did I give some good detail?
I think you did incredible, to be honest with you. That was amazing. Hold on a minute. Let me fix something here. I got to match your screen. Let me see. Let me see if it changed. Did it change? Yeah, there we go. Now I match the screen. You know how I am about colors, right? Look at that.
Yeah, 100% co-train. I like that colour, Tom. It does that, Tommy. That tie matches the screen. Yeah, you're right. These off-the-cuff lives are the best. And I understand why Tom, because I was going to wait till Florida, and Tommy's right, because it's still relatively fresh in my memory. So it was probably wise that I did it sooner rather than later, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think so. Sure. I mean, yeah, you look rested. You sound like you're rested, so you were ready to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, obviously I went through the timeline there. Is there anything you would want to add, or we want us to emphasise on something that the
No.
chat?
Oh, yeah, a couple things. I was totally taken off guard when I pulled up, and that lady was outside.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, that was funny, man. That was something like, me? You know me? How do you know me? She says, I know you from YouTube. She says, I follow you and one other show, Jay Lambone or somebody on another show.
Is that show you go to as well that you're part of?
Yeah, Jay Lamb. I forget the name of it, but I knew what she was talking about. Jay Lampone. I don't know. I know it. I knew it, and I do follow it, but I can't think of the name of it.
Yeah.
But she wanted to take a picture with me in front of the hotel there with the Robert Treat behind us. That was incredible.
Yeah, that was also because, as I say, she was like, because as soon as she looked at and saw it in her phone, she was like, oh, and it's her dad. Her dad watches
And
it.
you know what the thing is? I'll never hear from her or ever see her again. We'll never see the lady again.
Wow, so you never
But
know. She might pop into your chat one day. Who knows?
you never know. I told her to. We'll see. And
Exactly.
then you asked about the theater. You mentioned about the theater, the movie theater.
Yes.
That's the smug theater, the porno theater.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I couldn't quite remember the.
Yeah.
I remember the scene, the theatre. I just didn't know what the finer detail of it. But
It
yeah,
says little theater, and that was where the smug, what they call them, smug movies were.
yeah.
That's where you went to watch the smug movies.
Right.
Really?
Gotcha.
You captured everything. I mean, you remembered everything. You did great. You
Good
did
stuff.
great.
And
The city was great. Go ahead.
I was just saying as well. I got those couple of clips. Did you like that one I got, especially of the stained glass window?
That was amazing, and the mess was going on as we were there.
Absolutely. And do you want to? Is there anything extra you want to touch on? You know, when we were outside the church, you were telling me about the housing projects.
Outside the church where we were,
Yeah, well, you were looking at the houses, and you
we were
remembered.
looking at the one floor condos, the all around the church neighborhood, right?
Yeah,
So they were once upon a time. That was all Little Italy. That's where all, like, you'll see the old pictures of, say, Mulberry Street with all the peddlers outside.
right.
That's what that where you were looking at, where all those condos were. That's what they once were. That was Little Italy. And then the city, through eminent domain, kicked all of the Italians out of the neighborhood for because they said it's run down and it's a ghetto. So it was the Italian ghetto. So they kicked all of the Italians out. They said, you people don't know how to live. This is a mess. But it really wasn't true because all the Italians down there, although the property wasn't new and nice, they
Yeah,
took care of it like it was a castle. And the city said, you people are animals, basically, and they kicked the Italians out,
yeah.
and they took it and they built public housing projects,
Oh, yeah.
which
Hello, Bill C.
which
Yeah,
ended up lasting which ended up lasting about 15 years, and they blew them up and they put these condos up.
yeah.
But like you said, the heart of the neighborhood, the church, still remains. So
Well, that I was, and I really sincerely mean that. That church was unbelievable. Just like from everything from the stained glass windows, even when we were at the memorial or the not memorial, but where Saint Gerard is, and
Saint Gerard, yeah, the shrine in the back.
that's right, yeah. And there was see all that the paintings were all over the ceiling. It was fantastic.
Oh man, it's unbelievable,
And then
right?
yeah, it was. I know that you were giving me the explanation as we were going down Bloomfield Avenue, and He was pointing to saying that I remember that venue there, and how things have changed as well, because that used to be all predominantly Italian all the way down, didn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was all Italian. But
Yeah.
you saw how they were double parked and the cops couldn't even get through.
Well, that was on that particular area state. Was that Newark? Was it?
Sure.
Was it?
That was Newark. That wasn't Belleville. That was Newark.
Yeah, and we was there, and she said, "Look, you said you could just take a corner." Literally, as we turned around the corner, there was like them three hoodies looking blatantly dodgy, like they were up to no good.
Well, they were pushing drugs. They were dealing drugs.
Yeah.
We saw them. They were transactioning. That's what they were doing. They were transactioning, and then we went 2 blocks out, and it was castles, basically. You saw the houses.
Exactly. And do you remember when we were driving there? I don't know what they were collecting for. Do you remember they had buckets like it was like a group of little young like schoolgirls?
That was something for the school. They were dressed nice.
That's right. And what you turned around and said was, you said, "Look, that's where we're at now. Is the fact that they had to have a police officer there." And like,
the Girl Scout cookies. Oh, that was sad. That was sad. They were selling the Girl Scout cookies, and they had to have a cop there. Yeah, that's terrible. That was terrible to see.
Well, Bill C, when are you leaving the colonies? Bill C, as I say, this live was really more to captivate my trip with Tommy, but I'm in Manhattan today and tomorrow. And then on the 9th, I will fly down to Florida in Jacksonville, and I'll be there for a few nights. So, and then on to one night in Orlando and out. So I've really enjoyed the trip so far. Everyone's been fantastic. Is there anything else, Tommy, you want to add, or?
No, I loved doing that. Hopefully, my knowledge or passion for the area came through to you. How much I care about this area,
Exactly, and you could. It was, and as I said, the enthusiasm and the love for the area and your knowledge is what would help any one of us that was to come here and actually get an understanding for the area, because sometimes as well it's just another area, but when you go more intricate and into the detail, it's like it really starts to you start looking at things from a different perspective, and that's what needs to happen to appreciate an area.
I think it worked out. I mean, we changed the plans a little bit, but I said, listen, we're right here. We're at the tunnel. Let's just jump into the tunnel, or let's just take a shot. So I said, let's just go. Let's get in the car. We're going right into Manhattan. So we went right. We were in Manhattan in what, 10 minutes? 10 minutes maybe?
Yeah, even you were saying like any other time we would have been just hit with traffic, but we said, okay, so it's early in the morning on a Sunday and the weather's not too clever. Maybe that's a sign to strike if you need to go into Manhattan. So
we were right there. It was perfect. Oh, one other thing. You saw about the Waze, about the navigation, how well it was telling me to do something. Imagine if I didn't know where I was in Manhattan. You saw where it told me to turn, and I said, no, the next block.
Yeah, the sat nav was bang on point. So it was making sure that you weren't hitting any traffic jams, any road works. Rather than using your instincts, it just got you around,
Yeah, well, it was saying turn here, and I'm saying, no, that's not right. That's not right. I'm not turning down 7th Avenue. I got to go to 9th Avenue. Or, like that. So we kind of used it as a guide to get into the city, just to avoid traffic. Yeah. And then once we were in there, you saw I had to kind of know where we were.
Yeah.
Otherwise, even with the navigation, I had to kind of know where I was. Wow.
Exactly.
That was interesting. That was interesting to me, James. Yeah. That was interesting to me that I'm second guessing the navigation, because I'm thinking now, what if I was a tourist and I listened to it? Yeah. It wasn't quite right, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Because you're kind of like going, I wouldn't go that way. Why is it sending me here? But it knows, because it's it has all the it's got all the data of when things are traffic slowing up, It's all GPS.
Yeah, it's programmed. I said, no, 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 I'm not making that turn. I'm going to the next. I was right. We went through very nicely. We hit no traffic. We did great. The city was open for us yesterday.
Yeah. So
So
I was going to say, Tommy, do you have any? The weather's it's like December in New York at the moment. It's really bitterly cold. But I've got a whole day where I am. Where do you recommend that I go whilst I'm in the place where I am in Manhattan?
anywhere uptown, you're in a beautiful area. I mean, there's no specific place up there, to be honest with you. Anywhere you walk around, you're going to be good. You can
Yeah,
try and get out to Park Avenue, which I think is 2 blocks. You're on Riverside. Park Avenue is probably 5 blocks up east. So
yeah,
that's what I would do. I would try to walk up to Park Avenue from you're on 79th, right?
yeah,
So my personal opinion for you, 79th, I think you need to see Columbus Circle.
yeah.
You'll see Columbus Circle, and that's where they shot what's his name? Uh,
Joe.
Colombo.
Yeah,
Joe Colombo, right? Joe Colombo.
yeah,
So I think you need to see Columbus Circle, the
yeah,
entrance to Central Park, which I believe is 72nd. You gotta correct me if I'm just forgive me if I'm wrong. I'm
yeah, yeah,
going by my memory here. I think the entrance to Central Park would be on 72nd. So you might want to see the entrance to Central Park. Park Avenue
yeah,
up into the 80s is beautiful when you get into Park Avenue. And that's about it. Columbus Circle, the entrance to Central Park,
yeah,
and Columbus Circle. You have to see Columbus Circle. You're right there,
yeah. Hello,
and
Maureen.
that's
Thank you for coming.
so that's it
Yeah.
for me. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, well, good stuff. Yeah, as I say, it was really good, really eventful.
Yep.
I'm noticed that what's kind of coming up for time because you're on at 7 o'clock. Is
I
that right for
I
the
don't have
main
a
event?
show. I don't have a show planned. It's just going to be if I go on, I go on.
Right. Okay. I know. I don't know if Tinder's about. I know I did drop the link, or if anyone wants to jump up and ask us a question, you're more than
Yeah,
welcome.
Tinder was cooking and eating, so that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, on that note, then, if no one
All right,
wants to,
buddy.
thank you,
All
Tommy. I
right.
really appreciate it.
Excellent. Very good. Talk to you later.
Cheers. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.
Okay. Usually I'll go. Absolutely, co-train. I go likewise as well. You do. You can get familiar with the place. It was good. So that I'm going to say at this point. Let me turn my camera on because it's right that I address you all when I'm looking at you. Thank you all. It's been a pleasure. As I say, I've really enjoyed it here. Thank you for your support in the chat, and thank you to everyone that's watching. I really appreciate it. And hopefully, Tommy may go on, but I'm going to end it here. Have a good evening, everyone. God bless. And thank you for coming.